My sister-in-law was the infamous tigress of Lenan. A beautiful face, but a will of iron. She had my brother so well trained, he didn't dare to take a concubine. All the men in the city laughed at him for being henpecked. One day, my brother brought home a shy young woman. Trembling, he stood before her and said to my sister-in-law, "Melody and I have been intimate. Whether you agree or not, I will take her as my concubine." But my sister-in-law didn't reach for her rolling pin this time. She just smiled and said, "Fine, I'll arrange it for you." My sister-in-law, Serafina, was the most famous tigress of Lenan. With a rolling pin in hand, she would beat my brother whenever he displeased her. If he didn't go to the shop to do business, she would beat him. If he didn't try to befriend the right people, she would beat him. If he flirted with other women, she would beat him even more. My mother didn't like her. She always felt that she was bullying her precious son. But I liked her. She never taught me the virtues of a submissive wife as my mother did. Behind my mother's back, she would secretly tell me, "Silly Rebecca, those rules for women are just for show. Don't take them to heart. What is important is what you want in a husband. If you want him to be rich and powerful, then you might have to make some compromises to pretend to be the kind of woman he likes. But if you only want true love, then you should be yourself. The one who can accept you for who you are is the right one for you. In any case, no matter what you choose, you must never believe that a husband is a woman's whole world. The most important thing is not to wrong yourself." She did not look down on women who pursued wealth, but she herself only wanted true love. When my brother was out collecting rent one day, he was immediately captivated by her. She was so beautiful, she had no shortage of suitors, some of whom were even wealthier than our family. But she, as she had said, had let her true colors show. In the end, only my brother remained. The day she finally agreed to marry him, he had taken her on a spring outing and had even brought me along, hoping my chubby cheeks would please her. It was a beautiful sunny day pointing to the sun. She had held her head high and said to him, "Caleb, listen carefully. I have 3 rules. If you agree to them, I will marry you. Do you dare?" He had looked at her, his eyes brighter than the sun, and had immediately nodded. I agree, not just 3, but 300. His foolishness had made her blush for a moment, but she had quickly composed herself and had listed her terms. "First, I will not marry a wastrel. Your mother. From now on, we will be responsible for the family business. You are not allowed to be idle anymore. You must be diligent in your work. Second, I have a quick temper and a sharp tongue. I am like this today, and I will be like this after we are married. You are not allowed to use those traditional virtues to suppress me. Third, I, Serafina, will never share a husband. If we have no son, then your sister will marry a man who will join our family, not you taking a concubine. These 3 rules, we will have them witnessed by the clan elders. If you break them, I can divorce you at any time. Do you agree?" Since she became my sister-in-law, my brother had obviously agreed. But he had a bad habit. He had a weakness for pretty faces, and if a pretty face cried in front of him, his wallet would open and he would give them anything. He didn't take a concubine, but he was a sucker for a sob story. After she married him, she had helped him, pushed him to be better, and our family's fortune had grown several times over, and so had the opportunities for him to be a sucker. She was always chasing after him with her rolling pin, from the brothels in the east to the pleasure boats in the west. For 3 years, she had spent 2 of them trying to keep him in line, and every time he would beg for mercy, clinging to her leg. "My dear wife, you know me. I am just looking. In my heart, there is only you." They would fight and then make up, which always upset my mother. She didn't dare to provoke her, so she would only complain to me. Oh heavens! What have we done to deserve this? What kind of wife chases her husband around and beats him? Our family has lost all face. I would hand her a bowl of bird's nest soup. "Mother, eat up. If you eat this every day, you'll live to be 100. My sister-in-law bought a whole bunch for you." At the sight of the soup, she would fall silent. We used to be just a moderately wealthy family. We couldn't afford such luxuries. It was because of her rolling pin that we had the good life we had now. Sometimes, when I was tired of her nagging, I would ask, "Mother, I am your daughter. Do you want me to live a life like hers, or a life like the other submissive wives?" She was, after all, my mother. Though she would be angry, she couldn't bring herself to say she wanted me to be a submissive wife. I thought that our family, with all its ups and downs, would just continue on like this. But on another sunny day, as she was teaching me how to do the accounts, a delicate young woman appeared in our hall, hiding behind my brother. At first, she didn't seem to care. She frowned and asked, as she always did, "What is her sad story?" The usual. "If it is true, I'll give her 10 taels to go home." But the woman, hearing her words, immediately grabbed my brother's hand, her eyes full of tears. "Caleb, I am not leaving. Even if I can only be a serving girl, I will not leave your side for a moment." This was the first time a woman had dared to touch my brother in front of her. My mother whispered to me, "It is over. His hand is going to be washed raw, and that 10 taels will become 5. She and I both knew that he was all talk. If a woman actually tried to get close to him, he would run faster than a monkey. But this time, he actually held her hand. His voice was trembling, but he looked straight at her and said, "My dear wife, I have respected you for 3 years. In these 3 years, no matter how people have laughed at me, I have always known that you are a good wife. Please, have a heart and accept her. She has given me everything. I am a man. I must protect her. I swear, if you accept her this one time, there will be no one else. I will spend the rest of my life with just the 2 of you." What he meant by "she has given me everything." I didn't understand. She looked at the woman's belly and asked, her voice a mixture of excitement and anxiety, "You scoundrel, have you gotten her pregnant without telling your elders?" Though she was calling him a scoundrel, her face was full of joy. Only after she had spoken did she remember the situation, and secretly glanced at my sister-in-law. Normally, she would have flown into a rage, pulled out her rolling pin, and gone after him. But this time, she didn't move. Her eyes were glazed over, as if she hadn't understood a word he had said. I took her hand. It was ice cold. He was also scared, but he continued, "Yes, she is with my child. So, my dear wife, whether you agree or not, I will take her as my concubine." The words, "I will take her," finally got a reaction from her, a reaction that no one had expected. She wasn't angry. She even smiled and said, "A new addition to the family is a joyous occasion. We should call a doctor to check on her, to ensure a safe pregnancy." Everyone in the hall was stunned. My mother was the first to recover. She said happily, "My daughter-in-law is so kind. You, Melody, come and pay your respects to the main wife." She didn't let her bow. She just smiled and said, "Not today. A concubinage also requires a ceremony. We can do it on the day of the ceremony." She was smiling the whole time. When the doctor came and said the pregnancy was stable, she was smiling. When my mother said she would give Melody the courtyard closest to their own, she was still smiling. She smiled so much that even my brother started to get nervous. He took her hand and put it on his own face. "My dear wife, if you are angry, just let it out. Hit me, scold me, whatever you want. Just don't smile like that. It breaks my heart." Melody, hearing this, also started to cry. "It is my fault, Sister Caleb. I should go. I don't want to cause you any trouble." She held her belly and walked towards the door. After 2 steps, he let go of my sister-in-law's hand and ran after her. "Don't be foolish. You are a weak woman, and you are pregnant. Where would you go?" My mother always said that her fierce expression was scary, but I thought this kind of crying on cue was much more frightening. I looked at my sister-in-law. She was watching their clasped hands. Then she turned and left without a word. My mother pulled me away. She was all smiles in public, but as soon as we were alone, she took my hand and said, "Rebecca, your sister-in-law is good to you. You should sleep with her tonight and try to talk some sense into her. Tell her I don't like that Melody at all, that our only legally wedded daughter-in-law is her." As for the other one, she is just a concubine, for bearing children. I felt so sorry for her. I shook off my mother's hand. If you want to persuade her, you do it. I don't have the face. He made a promise that he would not take a concubine. If he does, she will divorce him. My mother's face darkened. She slapped me on the back. You brat, is divorce something you can just say out loud? If she leaves, who will control your brother? Besides, her father is gone. We are her only family. Where would she go if she— I looked at my mother as if I had never seen her before. So she knew. She knew that my sister-in-law was a good influence on him. She saw my expression and sighed. I am not a fool. Besides complaining a little, have I ever really been harsh with her? But a woman is a woman. It is inevitable that a husband will take a concubine. For 3 years, she has not been able to conceive. In any other family, he would have taken a concubine long ago. You should talk to her. Tell her to endure it. She is just a concubine. She will still have to live by her rules. My mind was in a turmoil. I knew he was in the wrong. He had broken his promise. But I didn't want her to leave. My mother was right about one thing. She had no other family. When she had decided to marry him, besides being moved by him, she had also wanted to give her ailing father some peace of mind. She had lost her mother at a young age and had only her father. When her father passed away, he had dropped everything and had stayed with her in her small, unmarried home for 3 whole months. When she couldn't eat, he had patiently coaxed her to open her mouth, feeding her bit by bit. When she was like a walking corpse, he had taken care of her completely, not even letting my mother help, fearing she would not get enough sun. He had learned to make a sedan chair, his hands covered in cuts, just to take her out for a walk. In the end, when nothing else worked, he had pleaded with her. Serafina, my dear Serafina, please, look at me. Your father is gone, but I am still here. You are my only wife in this life. You wouldn't want me to be alone, would you? She had been moved by his plea. The soul that had left with her father had returned. She had finally cried, in his arms, as if the whole world had abandoned her. Caleb, my father is gone. I have no home. I have no home anymore. He had held her, and in a voice even more sorrowful than hers he had sworn, as heaven is my witness. From now on, wherever I am, that is your home. If I ever betray you, may I be abandoned by all and die a miserable death. His vows had been so moving then. They had truly been in love. Could it all be gone? Just because of one melody? I didn't believe it. So I also had to persuade her not to believe it. He must have had his reasons. I had my speech prepared. I was on my way to her courtyard when I heard his voice. They had a table of wine under the moon. He was looking down, and she was holding his hand. Her voice gentle. Husband, don't be afraid. I won't be fierce with you this time. Just tell me the truth. This melody is a fake. You are just trying to get a rise out of me, right? Or you feel sorry for her because she is pregnant and unmarried. Or you are helping a friend. In any case, you haven't really been with her, right? In the moonlight, her face was full of a gentle affection, a testament to her trust in him. But his head sank even lower. He choked. My dear wife, if only you had been so gentle before. I am a man. I have my pride. If it weren't for people laughing at me for being henpecked, and I had gotten drunk, how would I have made that first mistake with her? But once I had, I knew what a gentle embrace was. I can't let her go. It is easy to lie to you tonight, but to lie to you would mean sending her away. She is with my child now. She sees me as her whole world. I have to be a man. Me dear wife, I bow to you. I apologize to you. You can beat me with that rolling pin until my legs are broken. I won't fight back, but I am begging you, please accept her. Don't make things difficult for her and the child. You know, in my heart, you will always be number one. I am just giving her a small corner. I swear, I will never let her overstep you. He didn't dare to look at her. He was bent over, his mouth full of another woman, so he didn't see how pale her face was. So when she smiled and said okay, and told him to go and take care of the pregnant woman. He had fled. But I stayed. I saw clearly that the moment he left, her face was covered in tears. She fell to the ground, a mad woman, laughing and crying. Then, caressing a tree, she slapped herself hard. After the slap, she smiled at the tree. Father, mother, don't think I am useless, crying like this for a heartless man. We were in love for 3 years. After father left, he was the one who pulled me back. I had to ask him, to see if he had any reason. Now that the doctor has confirmed she is pregnant, and he has admitted he can't let her go, this is the last tear I will shed for him. As you are my witnesses, this husband. I, Serafina, no longer want. She kowtowed respectfully to the tree. When she was done, she stood up and wiped the last tear from her eye. That was the tree her parents had planted the year she was born. When they had gotten married, he and she had moved it here together. It was a symbol of her parents. I was so scared by the look in her eyes. I wanted to go and drag him back to apologize. But when I got to Melody's courtyard, I saw them, holding each other. That Melody was sobbing. Caleb, I was so scared today. I thought your sister would take out that rolling pin you told me about and beat us. I was ready to die with you. But she didn't. And she didn't mention the divorce either. It seems the others were right. You've been spoiling her too much. Now that I am here, she is scared. She won't dare to be so fierce with you anymore. Maybe if you ignore her for a few more days, she'll be even more obedient. He sighed in relief. Yes, I've been too soft. If I am weak, she is strong. For you and the child, I have to be the man of the house. But one thing, she is still the main wife. You must respect her. If you two get along, I can focus on my work. He wanted her to respect my sister-in-law. But she wasn't even jealous. She just laughed softly. Do you think I am as thoughtless as her? As long as she can tolerate me, I am willing to be as submissive as you want. Her words made him hold her even tighter. Nonsense. Who said you have to be submissive? In name, she is the wife. But in my heart, you are the same. If she dares to mistreat you, I will protect you. I stood outside the door. I think I understood what he loved about this Melody. He loved her weakness, her obedience, the way she always deferred to him. But after understanding this, my desire to persuade him also died. He had not been deceived. He had chosen her. And for her, he would have countless fights with my sister-in-law in the future. He only remembered her fierceness, which had undermined his authority. But he had forgotten the first time she had hit him. At that time, he was not good at business, and the family shop was on the verge of bankruptcy. He was in the middle of a crucial negotiation, when his good-for-nothing friends had convinced him to go to a brothel, where he had gotten so drunk he had missed the meeting. When she had come looking for him, he had just grinned foolishly. My dear wife, I just had a few drinks with them. I didn't order any girls. In the past, she had only ever disciplined him in private. That blow had made her the tigress of Lenan in the eyes of the public, but it had also scared away his good-for-nothing friends for a while. She had then forced him to stay at the shop, teaching him bit by bit, and had finally saved the family business, even expanding it from 1 shop to 5, then 10. At that time, he had been punished to kneel in the ancestral hall. He didn't know that on the day she had beaten him, she had drunk a lot of wine. Her eyes were red as she said to me, I am not a fool. I know a man needs to have face in public, but your brother is so soft-hearted. If I let him continue like this, the shop will be ruined. We can be poor, but your mother has lived a life of leisure. Should she have to worry about money in her old age? She was not naturally domineering. He had forced her to be at that time. He understood her intentions, and they were still a happy couple. But as the business grew, and the friends who were only after his money returned, so did her rolling pin. She and I had both thought he would understand, as he had before. But we had forgotten that with great wealth and power comes a great heart. He would never be the same again. Since he could not, then it was only natural that she would not want him. I didn't know when or how she planned to leave, so I just pretended I didn't know anything and clung to her side. When my mother asked how the persuasion was going, I just lied and said she had come to her senses. To others, she did seem to have come to her senses. She started to act like a virtuous, ordinary wife. She had chopped up the rolling pin with the axe from her courtyard. When my mother and brother had rushed over, she had just thrown the 2 pieces of wood aside and said, "This thing is useless now. I might as well chop it up for firewood." My mother had asked tentatively, "You are not going to hit him anymore?" She had just grunted, "Number, if he is not willing, then I won't waste my energy." In that moment, a look of joy and triumph had flashed across his face. He thought she was finally submitting. To test how far she would submit, he had even brought Melody to eat with us. But my mother, fearing she would be upset, had made Melody serve everyone before she was allowed to eat. But she had just smiled and said, "Mother, you are confused. She is pregnant. My husband can't get enough of her. How can we make her stand for so long? Come, let's add a chair for her next to him." At her words, even he was stunned. He subconsciously let go of Melody's hand. "My dear wife, are you agreeing to me and her?" She had nodded calmly. But when he had tried to take her hand, she had deliberately moved away and had ladled a bowl of soup for Melody. "You should eat more. In a few days, I will arrange for your concubinage ceremony. We can't have the child be born without a proper title." Melody had taken the soup and had meekly thanked her. The table was a picture of harmony. My mother and brother had looked at each other, their faces full of a joyful satisfaction. Only I remembered what she had said. A woman who loves her husband cannot be so magnanimous and not be jealous. Only when she no longer loves can she be the calm, composed clay figurine of the traditional virtues. From that day on, she only did 2 things. 1, she taught me how to do the accounts. And 2, she prepared for his concubinage ceremony. She probably didn't want to deal with him anymore. She would always make me study late and then have me sleep in her room. When he came, she would just smile and say, "Rebecca is sleeping here. Melody needs someone to take care of her. You should go to her courtyard." Even the servants were gossiping, saying that she had changed, that the tigress had become a gentle cat. I had thought he would remain clueless, but when she had personally started to prepare for his concubinage ceremony, meticulously instructing the servants, and even hanging red silk in Melody's courtyard, he had started to have a hint of a realization. That night, he had had too much to drink at a social gathering and had come to her door. Drunk, she had pretended not to hear. He had collapsed at her door, mumbling like a child, "My dear wife, I went to the drunken spring pavilion again today. Where is your rolling pin? Why didn't you come and find me?" Melody said, "I have you under control, that you will be a gentle wife from now on. But when I was drinking today, I was suddenly so scared. I suddenly remembered, you haven't hit me once since I brought her back. Serafina, my dear Serafina, just say something. You are just angry with me for a while. You are not The last sentence he had asked so softly, so full of a fear, as if she had just said yes, he would have not taken Melody as a concubine. Only then did she open the door. She looked down at him and said, "You are drunk. You are imagining things. Go to bed." Seeing the door open, he was as if he had seen a ray of light. He hugged her legs, and with a sudden lunge, his lips were on hers. I was standing behind her. I was about to say I was still there, but she turned her head, avoiding his kiss, and with a single kick, sent him flying. The wind outside was cold. She said to me in a low voice, "It is too cold. Have someone take him to the next court." I personally took the drunk him next door. I saw Melody light the lamps and prepare a warm soup for him. I thought, this is good. She can keep him busy, and he won't have time to bother my sister-in-law. But he had called off the concubinage ceremony, saying he would wait until after the child was born. My mother was so anxious she got a canker sore. She said her grandson could not be without a proper title, but he was adamant. He asked my mother, "Do you remember the contract I signed with her before we were married?" She was so calm it scared him, so calm that he finally remembered that vow. My mother was also stunned for a moment, but then she quickly shook her head. No, that was just to scare you before the wedding. We haven't done anything wrong to her. What woman would give up a good life and divorce her husband just because he takes a concubine? It would be a laughingstock. My mother was a woman of the old ways. All these years, she had never truly understood a woman like her. After my mother left, I asked him, "Brother, since you remember your vow, why did you still have Melody?" He stroked my head and gave a bitter smile. "You are still young. You don't understand. A man always wants more. But don't worry, your sister-in-law will always be the most important person to me." He still didn't think he was in the wrong. He called it human nature. I knew why she was so meticulously planning the concubinage ceremony, and I knew why he was suddenly so afraid to go through with it. It was not easy for a woman in the Zhao dynasty to leave a marriage. A divorce by mutual consent was 100 times more difficult than a divorce by repudiation. If it weren't for the contract he had signed before their marriage, no court would have granted a divorce over a concubinage. But even that contract had not been easy to sign. Our clan had thought it was a disgrace and had refused. It was he who had shamelessly begged and bribed his way to get it signed. At that time, her father, Mr. Chin, had written that if he had an affair with another woman, she could divorce him. A clan elder, thinking that affair was too vague, and to save some face, had insisted on changing it to, "if he takes a concubine." At that time, his heart had been sincere. Mr. Chin had been satisfied and had agreed to the change. But sincerity can change. That one small change now meant that for her to be able to leave, he had to actually take a concubine. Just as he was about to figure out her true intentions, it was Melody who had helped her. That night, he had insisted on staying in her room. She had used me as an excuse, but it hadn't worked. As they were arguing, a maid from Melody's courtyard had rushed in, frantic. "It is not good. My lady ate the pastries from the young mistress's courtyard and is now in terrible pain. My lord, you have to go and see her." That was the little maid Melody had brought with her. Lily, she looked at my sister-in-law with anger. Her meaning clear, she was implying that she had done something. I was about to go and argue, but she stopped me. "Caleb, since the child is in danger, I will go with you." When we reached Melody's courtyard, my mother was already there. Melody was lying in bed, looking weak. I had thought she was faking it, but she didn't seem to be. The family's usual doctor was in the room. The old man stroked his beard and said, "She has eaten something unclean. A larger dose would have been dangerous for the child. You must be careful during the early stages of pregnancy." He was a respected old doctor. He would not help Melody with a scheme. He knew that the inner courts were full of intrigue. He wrote a prescription and left. My mother had a rule that even though Melody was pregnant, she had to pay her respects to my sister-in-law every 5 days. The pastries had indeed been eaten in her courtyard. If the child was fine, people would have suspected Melody of a scheme. But from what the doctor had said, even if she had wanted to frame my sister-in-law, it would have been too risky. My mother said hesitantly, "Those pastries?" She had just started, and then she quickly shook her head. No, my daughter-in-law is not that kind of person." Lily was still complaining indignantly. If it wasn't the young mistress, then who was it? My lady ate nothing else. She couldn't have gotten sick out of thin air, and the concubinage ceremony has been called off. In the end, she just can't tolerate my lady. She and Melody both thought that it was her idea to call off the ceremony, but he looked at her with a hint of excitement. "My dear wife, was it you?" His eyes were not full of blame, but even a little expectant. She looked at him for a long time, as if she had never seen him before. Finally, she said, with a sudden rage, "It was me. She dared to steal my husband. She should have expected this. Did you really think I wanted a concubinage ceremony? I was just trying to keep her in line. What? Are you going to divorce me for this?" Her frank admission had even stunned Melody, but Lily had reacted quickly. She immediately knelt and cried, "My lord, you heard her. It was the young mistress. My poor lady. She came here all alone with you. You are her only support. You must stand up for her." A vicious woman like that should be divorced to keep the whole family safe, she cried so theatrically, fully expecting him to fly into a rage. But he had first kicked her. He said with a fierce look, "Who do you think you are to tell me to divorce my wife? My wife is just a little jealous. Who gave you the nerve to take advantage of the situation?" That fierce look had made Melody realize that he was not worried about her but was pleased that his wife was still willing to be jealous for him, to fight for him. She was, after all, the woman who had managed to steal him away from my sister-in-law. She immediately realized her mistake and said weakly, "Lily, stop. It must have been the kitchen staff who were careless." "How can you blame my sister, Caleb? Don't be angry. I apologize to my sister." She was the one who had almost lost her child, yet she was apologizing to my sister-in-law. That pitiful look had made him remember her good qualities again. He looked at one and couldn't bear to let her go, and at the other and felt a pang of pity. He closed his eyes and said, "My dear wife, Melody has been wronged. Let's just have the concubinage ceremony. This time, you don't have to worry about it. I'll have the steward handle it." My brother, having just escaped the fear of losing her, was immediately back to dreaming of having both. But if he had been a little calmer, he would have noticed her guilty look when she had admitted it. If he had just remembered the old her a little more, he would have known that she never bothered with other women. She only ever hit him. She had only seen through his fear and had gone along with it, so he would dare to go through with the ceremony. That farce had made my mother afraid of her. She had for once used her authority as a mother-in-law and had confined her to her courtyard. He thought she was still the same jealous wife and relieved, had tried to control her again. Her courtyard was suddenly quiet, with only me going to her every day to learn how to do the accounts. She taught me with great care, as if she wanted to teach me everything she knew in a short period of time. Occasionally, she would stroke my head and say, "Our Rebecca is a good girl. If one day your brother is not up to the task, you must take care of this family and give your mother a peaceful old age." I lowered my head and asked her, "You don't hate my mother, do you? She helped him to take a concubine, and me, I am his sister." She shook her head. "I don't hate her. The agreement was with him, not with her. In these 3 years, she has never wronged me. She has worried about me being cold, about me being hungry. Even in the most difficult year, she had given up her own winter clothes to make sure I had a bowl of brown sugar water for my period. She is just different from me." With that, she poked my cheek. As for our Rebecca, who would fight with her own mother to protect me, who could hate such a cute little girl? She was smiling, but I knew she was slowly saying goodbye to us. I wanted to pretend I didn't know, but the tears came. I hugged her and said, "Sister-in-law, you have to be happy. Even if you go somewhere else, you have to be happier than anyone's." She looked at me surprised. Then a look of acceptance came over her face. "Our Rebecca is so smart. She knows what I am thinking. Thank you for not telling your brother." Now that it was out in the open, I did something I had always wanted to do. I touched her heart and asked, "Sister-in-law, did it hurt, the day she came?" She said faintly, "It hurt. It hurt so much I thought I was going to die. When I met your brother, he was a good man. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been so devoted to him. To this family for 3 years. I loved him completely, without reservation. I believed he loved me. Even now, if I were to say that if he dared to take a concubine, I would divorce him, he would, after some hesitation, send her away. If it were any other woman, she would probably think that her husband still cared for her and would just go on with her life. But I have seen what true love is. Though my mother died young, my father never stopped loving her. Before he passed away, he told me that if one day your brother betrayed me, I should not think of how good he used to be to me. That was not important. What was important was that from the moment he betrayed me, he would continue to betray me. If I couldn't let go of the past, I would lose the future as well. He made me promise that I would never be a foolish woman who couldn't let go. It is true that your brother can't let go of me, but he also can't let go of her. Life is so long. I don't want to spend my days wondering if her importance will one day surpass mine. That would be too pitiful. If he truly loved me, he would not have put me through such a torment. Once I understood this, my heart no longer ached. Rebecca, you must also remember, in the future, when you meet someone, either do not seek love or seek it all. Do not waste yourself in comparisons with other women. When you give up someone who is not worthy, someone who is truly worthy will be waiting for you. That was the last lesson she taught me. The days passed like water. Soon, it was the day of his concubinage ceremony. Melody had him wrapped around her finger. The banquet was not a small one. All his friends were there. They looked at her, sitting in the main hall, not making a scene, just drinking her tea, with a look of amusement. They surrounded him and said, "Brother Feng, congratulations on finally taming the shrew. It seems your wife has really been trained by you." He was beaming with pride. "My wife is naturally virtuous. I won't have you calling her a tigress anymore. From now on, our family will be full of peace and harmony." He drank a lot of wine. When he was drunk, he came to her and said with a smile, "My dear wife, where is the sobering soup, the kind you used to always make for me?" She looked at him deeply, as if for the last time, then casually picked up a bowl of soup and said, "Drink this, and then live your life, Caleb. We are even. From now on, we go our separate ways." He never drank her soup again, nor did he see her again. When he woke up, the courtyard was empty. Even the tree her parents had planted had been moved. Under my cover at first, he thought she was just throwing a tantrum. But when he had searched all the family shops, her old home and all the inns in the city, he finally panicked. He was like a headless fly, asking everyone he met if they had seen his wife. My mother also got worried and had me and the servants go and look for her. I just shook my head. "It is no use. She is not coming back." He looked at me as if he wanted to eat me alive. "You are lying. She just drugged Melody for me not long ago. She loves me so much. How could she leave me?" Melody was standing by, wishing she were invisible. I looked at her coldly. "You tell me, was it you who drugged yourself, or was it my sister-in-law?" She was about to argue, but I had Lily tied up and beaten. Only then did she cry and beg. "It was me. My lord suddenly said he wouldn't have the ceremony, and I thought it was her doing. I was just trying to drive a wedge between them, to secure my own position. Please, stop. Lily is just a child. She was just trying to help me. She doesn't know anything." She said that people's feelings are mutual. Since Lily was so protective of her, she must also care for her. In fact, it would have been easy for her to find out the truth. She just hadn't cared at the time. This answer made him go mad. He finally realized that she had been planning to leave him from the first day he had brought her back. The shock made him violent. He pushed her to the ground. "It is all your fault. It is all your fault. I don't want you anymore. I want my wife back." He was trying to blame it all on her again, but then he looked down and saw the blood seeping from beneath her. My mother cried and slapped him. "You've already lost one. Do you want to lose this one and your child too?" Her child was also lost. Though she had carefully controlled the dose of the drug she had taken, it had still weakened her. A simple fall was enough to cause a miscarriage. He stood by her bed, dazed. He was just a weak, indecisive man, not a cold-hearted one. The bowls of blood that the doctor brought out finally brought him to his senses. He looked at her and cried, "In the end, I have wronged you both. It turns out, without my wife, I want no one." The second month that he was trying to drink himself to death, news of her came. The family shops were divided into 3 parts, one in his name, one in my mother's, and one in hers. She had said that when I came of age, she would give me another share. Unfortunately, when I turned 15, she was no longer my sister-in-law. She had sold her share. It was said that she was going to move to another city to start a new life. She had found a clan brother and a lawyer to handle the divorce. The contract they had signed, both clans had a copy, and it was also filed with the authorities. She didn't have to show up, whether he agreed or not. In the eyes of the law, they were no longer husband and wife. The last thing she left him was the sedan chair he had learned to make for her. Inside was a letter, not long, just a few lines. "At that time, I asked you why you didn't just buy a sedan chair, why you had to make one yourself, your hands all covered in cuts. You smiled and said that you had to get hurt in front of me to make me feel sorry for you, to bring me back, to let me know that there was someone in this world who loved me as much as my father did. That love was real. So I do not hate you, Caleb. From now on, let us go our separate ways. I had asked her to write this letter. He was, after all, my brother. I couldn't bear to see him so despondent. But he had cried, clutching the letter. The last spark of light in his eyes had gone out. Serafina, you are so cruel. You won't even leave me your hatred. A person without light in their heart will only become more dejected. The shops closed one after another. The servants were all dismissed. She had also stolen some money and had run away with Lily. Before she left, she had written a long letter cursing him. She said she had only been with him for his money, but she had never thought he would be so useless. No wonder his wife had left him. My mother, who had always believed in following her son in her old age, still wanted to sell the last of the family shops to give him a second chance. I had lost my temper, and had said that if she didn't give me the shop, then she would no longer have me as a daughter. She still wanted me as a daughter, so the last of the family's assets went to me. I, like my sister-in-law, started to run the business. Love was too terrifying. Money was more reliable. 5 years later, I saw her in another big city. She hadn't aged a day. She was holding a little girl, who was pouting, and she was angry at the man behind her. That man was very beautiful, even more beautiful than her. He was chasing after her with a rolling pin, trying to put a veiled hat on her head. My dear wife, I remember. Next time, I will wear a veiled hat when I go out. I won't let other women see your husband's face. I really didn't know someone would throw flowers at me so early in the morning. You can hit me a couple of times to let off some steam. Our daughter is sleepy. Let's take her home. Samanon on the side was teasing him. Mr. Yang, is your wife beating you again? He replied with a grin. Yes, my wife cares about me, otherwise, she wouldn't bother. She was so embarrassed she tried to snatch the rolling pin from him. Mr. Yang, the last time I hit you was 3 years ago, when we were business rivals. When did I ever hit you after we got married? Have you not had enough of being called henpecked? He hugged her. I haven't. I want you to control me for the rest of my life. So, when you've seen what love is, even if you've been hurt, you can still stand up and start over. She had found a new love, and she was smiling so beautifully.